Hello, learners. Today, let's talk about something that we keep doing all the time. We are always talking and describing things, objects, places, and we are also narrating events and stories and things that we have experienced. But do you do it the correct way? Let's have a look at what description and narration is. So description is the pattern of development that aims to make a place, object, character, or group vivid. It creates a picture with words in your mind's eye so that you are able to visualize it mentally. Narration, on the other hand, is the use of a written or spoken commentary to convey a story to an audience. Now, we are always telling stories also. Children also tell tall stories. Narration is conveyed by a narrator. So, generally, the author will have a specific person or an unspecified literary voice in the text that will be telling the story or giving the information to the reader or audience, and particularly talks about the plot of the story. Now, there are differences between the two. So, let's have a look. Descriptive text adds the details that help you to visualize the characters. As I told you before, also, they paint picture with words, very vivid description, so that we can see that picture in our mind's eye, that okay, that place or that object looks like this. And then narration, on the other hand, is the act of giving an account. So the narrator is the person or entity within a story who tells the story to the reader, what is happening and what's about to happen next. So generally when we are describing, we describe objects, places, events, and even people. Here we'll deal with these three that I have mentioned here. We speak about objects. So the appearance comes first, then the different parts of the object, the function and usefulness of the object. For example, if we talk about a laptop, so how does it look like? What are the different parts? What are the functions? And what is the usefulness of the object to us? And generally we use the simple present tense to describe. Next, moving on to places, we have to keep in what and how the building and structure looks like. And what is the star attraction, whether there are dome-shaped buildings or square or, mm, different kinds of minarets or pillars, or what is it that is the star attraction? Now, when we describe places and objects, there are sensory images that we create. We have five senses, so we take pride in describing all those that appeal to our senses. So, first is visual, and that is why I am presenting to you with the PPT, so you can see pictures, you can see what is there because they add a lot of meaning to what we are trying to explain. Next, auditory. So I'm speaking and making you understand in a clear voice what I am trying to tell you. Olfactory relates to our smell, sense of smell. So if we are describing some perfume or something, so we will be talking about that, the smells. Or if you're talking about chocolava or a pizza or a brownie, then you will be talking about those chocolatey smells and flavors and odors. And then gustatory is the flavors, the taste. So how does it taste like? So all those images, when we write like that, then they are able to, convey the correct meaning to the reader. Lastly, events. So action plays an important role. An easy way to construct a good description to an event is to answer five questions. What, who, where, when, and why? What was the event? Who organized? Who attended? Where was it held? When was it held? And why was it held? Very simple. Now, if you have the answers to these questions, you can easily write anything that you want. Now, narration happens in three voices: the first person, the second person, and the third person. So, let's have a look at how it happens. So, generally, the main character or the protagonist or the hero or heroine of the story or novel is telling the story. So, you can see the words I, me, or we used in that sense in the first person narrations. Coming to second person, the author uses the narrator within the story to speak to the reader, and you will notice that you, your, and yours are used in the second person narration. Moving on to the third person, an external narrator outside the story is telling you about the story, and you will notice that the pronouns he, she, it, or they are used. So the clue here is pay attention to the pronouns and you will know the point of view from which the story is being narrated or written. That's your clue. Now, narration and description background. Now, how do they help you? So, they help you in two different ways. Narration is telling the story to make a point, whereas description is evoking the senses to create a picture in your mind's eye. So now many a times you get these kind of topics: first trip alone, or your best trip, or your favorite place, or last minute political victory, or a picnic in a special place. So how do you describe? The best thing is when you use both these techniques together, narration and description. You are able to create a beautiful picture for anyone to read, and you will get your grade. Your teacher will be happy, and you will be happy that yes, oh, it's I who's written this. So keep these tips in mind, and you will have a beautiful narrative and descriptive picture that you have created. So happy narrating and